Hey, I'm the other Jacob. That's right, I'm not dead! The main reason why this video took so long to come out is because I was originally doing a video about Sonic Adventure. Spoilers, I didn't like it. Despite that, I managed to get through the entire game as every character, and I was fully prepared to rip it apart. But, as the story goes, I went to check my footage and... none of it had any audio. Also, I got sick. As you'd expect, I'm pretty upset right now. In fact, I'm so mad about this that I could just punch someone! Punch Out Wii was released in 2009 and was made as a reboot to the classic NES game Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Later re-released as just Punch Out because Mike's contract expired and not because of any other reason. The game stars Little Mac, a comically tiny boxer rising up the ranks of the WVBA Championship and, against all odds, winning the dream fight with Mike Tyson. Or Mr. Dream, depending on what version you're playing. Regardless, the game was a massive hit, to the point that it got a sequel on the Super Nintendo, and that's it. I mean, Super Punch Out is an alright game, but it doesn't even star Little Mac as the main character. Yeah, you heard me. This character is not Little Mac, and I'm tired of pretending it's okay to think he is. Thankfully, in 2009, the game made a triumphant comeback with Punch Out Wii. The game was a big success, selling over 1 million copies, receiving critical praise across the board, and even earning Little Mac a spot in Smash Bros. 5 years later. That was your fault. So let's see why this game was such a big success as we take a look at Punch Out Wii. Right out the bat, you can tell how faithful this game is to the original. All you can really do in this game is dodge and punch. You can also duck and block to avoid certain types of attacks, and you can star punch, but we'll get to that. None of this is bad, however. The simple gameplay makes it incredibly easy to pick up and play, but it also requires a lot of skill to play effectively. For most fights, punching wildly isn't going to cut it, since you have a stamina meter that drains when you get hit or when your punches are blocked. When it reaches 0, you become f***ing purple! And you can't attack anymore until you dodge another punch. And most fights in this game keep their guard completely airtight, so blindly punching is a good way to get yourself killed. As you'd expect, the best way to deal damage in this game is to dodge and counter. This grants you stun time that allows you to get in a bunch of punches in a row, and that'll be your main way of dealing damage in this game. But, if you truly want to give your opponent a concussion, you're gonna have to master the Star Punch. Stars are what separate the men from the boys in this game. To get a star, you have to do various things, like attack during a taunt, or intercepting an attack at just the right time, stuff like that. Getting one allows you to use a Star Punch, the most powerful move money can buy. You can also stack up to 3 to make it more powerful, with 3 stars being almost an instant knockdown. However, getting hit even once makes you lose all of your stars. This makes for a great risk-reward system considering how precise you have to be to counter some attacks. You also need them to see the special TKO animations that every fighter has, which is the only true way to win. I mean, you could win by the 10 count, but... like that's ever gonna happen. You could also win by decision if you're a puss. Also, if you use an attack at just the right time, you might even get an instant knockdown or even an instant win, as demonstrated earlier. And trust me, you're gonna need all that because this game is, well... yeah, this game is hard. Especially with some of the later fights, this game can be downright brutal sometimes with instant knockdown attacks, delayed attacks, lightning quick attacks, the list goes on. Seriously, the only reason why my win-loss ratio is so spotless is because I had to restart all the damn time. If restarting counted as a loss, I'd probably be worth about 10 glass joes. It never feels impossible, however. The difficulty is always fair. Every time I lose, it feels like my fault because I'm an idiot. And boy, the satisfaction you get from putting a super hard boss in his place is completely unmatched. However, I'd argue that the biggest draw this game has are the boxers themselves. They're each filled with so much personality and charm that I almost feel bad giving them severe brain damage. So you know what? Might as well talk about all of them. Yeah, all of them, one after the other. If you don't like it, too bad you clicked on this video and you must atone for your sins. First up is Glass Joe, the biggest loser in all the WVBA.
Can you take hats in a dignified and sophisticated manner?
You mean like a weenie? Okay.
Bonjour, bonjour!
If you know how to jab, or how to dodge, or how to exist, chances are he won't be much of a threat. Unlike just about every other boxer in the game, his guard isn't completely airtight, so you can kinda just bully him a bunch if you know what you're doing. That doesn't mean I don't love him, though. I mean, the guy's lost 99 times in a row and he still doesn't give up. He's also a great example on how this game adapts the primitive 8-bit sprites into fully fledged animation. The taunt punch? It's here. The weird stomach wobble thing he does when you counter the taunt punch?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
They even gave him pathetic 8-bit sounds when you knock him down. Now would also be a good time to mention the slideshows you get before every fight. They tell you a bit about your opponent, and they're incredibly charming. Sometimes they might even give you hints on how to beat him. And that's just about all there is to say about Glass Joe. He may not be a good boxer, but he's a great boyfriend. Up next is Von Kaiser, another one of my favorites. He's a former German military instructor, and he thinks he's way bigger than he really is, which makes the fact that he's completely pathetic all the more funny. He's all about star punches, considering his intercept timings are stupid generous. Not only that, but he's programmed to literally always go down with one, no matter how strong or weak it is. And, as you probably are very familiar with, you can kill him in 5 punches.
Boom, bam, bop, bada bop, boom, pow.
So yeah, I'm not exactly praising this fight for its difficulty. In fact, it was so easy I didn't have enough footage for the fight because I killed him so quickly, so I had to record more in editing. And I only got an extra 2.5 minutes of footage anyway. But all of this is precisely why I love this fight. It's just so funny to take this narcissistic, pathetic freak down a peg. Also, he has the best knockout animation in the game. Perfection. Disco Kid honestly confuses me. Like, he's already stupid rich and he's a profound dancer and shit. So he decides to take up boxing. Okay, why not? Anyway, this boss fight's completely pathetic. Disco Kid's a terrible boxer. He's way more concerned with dancing around than he is with actually throwing a punch. And when he does, he only has 2 attacks, and they're incredibly telegraphed, even by minor circuit standard. That probably explains his terrible win-loss record. There's not really that much more to say, to be honest. He's just a stupid, pathetic, forgettable boxer. Which is a shame, because he's the only completely new boxer of the lot, but whatever, beggars can't be choosers, let's move on. Up next is the minor circuit champion himself, King Hippo. He's definitely one of the more unique fights in the game. First of all, he's a big, beefy boy. He barely takes any damage from his stun, especially compared to you. In fact, he's so damn fat, his weight is completely undefined. But as it turns out, a heavy weight doesn't really translate into a good stature, as it only takes 1 knockdown to put him against the ropes completely. That means this is essentially an endurance fight until you can whittle his health down low enough. And to make matters worse, stars are incredibly hard to come by. Not that you need them though, all you really need to do is counter the Hippo squeeze once and then do it again. Oh fuck. Alright, let me just, try that one again. Oh, there we go. This'll knock him down and win you the fight completely instantly. It also knocks off his crown and turns him into a fucking pinhead. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say. Moving on to the major circuit, up next is Piston Hondo. This is about the point of the game where the boxers start getting serious on you. No longer will you be fighting wacky cartoon characters like King Hippo. This guy's an actual boxer. Doesn't make him difficult. His attacks still have a slow wind-up, and you can punch him during his eyebrow wiggle for a free star. Other than that, there's not really that many surprises in this fight. That is until he starts going boink, 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 and then the Honda Rush, a series of jabs so fast that you can't even dodge it and you have to block it. This is only an option if you're a loser. If you're a badass like me, of course you go for the instant knockdown counter. Personality-wise, he's supposed to be quite noble and humbling in presence. Yeah, sort of like that. Now on an unrelated note, up next is Bear Hugger, one of the few fights to come outside the original NES game. I freaking love this fight, it's so good. His intercept timings are a lot more strict compared to the other fights, but other than that he's pretty standard. So why do I love this fight so much? I mean, come on! Through simple voice lines alone, they were able to turn this guy into one of the most defined personalities in the entire game, and I love him. And if you think that's shallow reasoning, then fuck off. You don't deserve this Canadian lump anyway. Great Tiger is up next and he breaks my fucking brain. He's a talented magician and he won't let you forget it.
There's 2 of them!
Other than that nonsense, he likes to throw uppercuts that'll still hit you if you dodge them the wrong way. I just can't seem to wrap my head around this. And the brain damage I suffer from getting hit doesn't help things. But hey, it's all worth it to see that knockdown animation. Also, if you counter that clone attack from earlier, you'll get an instant knockdown, which is how I won the fight. It's not really that much more to say, to be honest. It's just a really good fight that I happen to be terrible at. Up next is the Major Circuit Champion, Don Flamenco. This guy isn't just a boxer, he's a bullfighter. Meaning he's not just here to win, he's here to humiliate you and disrespect you. He rarely attacks you directly, instead just standing there until you hit him first. So it's not uncommon to see him take a player all the way to decision. If you don't know about the infinite. Simply hook him, then jab him, hook, jab, repeat. Even if you're terrible at timing it like I am, it still does massive damage in a short time. Still, this fight is pretty tricky because his intercept timings are still pretty strict. He also loves throwing delayed uppercuts on top of quick uppercuts just to fuck with you. But no matter how easy or hard this boss fight is, it's always cathartic to show this smug son of a bitch who's boss. Just look at the face he makes when you dodge one of his uppercuts.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Moving on to the World Circuit, up next is Aaron Ryan. He's the only Super Punch Out exclusive to come back. Bit of a weird choice because in the original he was just a standard boxer, he didn't even break any rules. Here though, he's Irish. This is probably my favorite fight in the whole game. I love how they're able to take this nobody and turn him into a fucking maniac. I mean, he hops around all over the place in his fight, he headbutts you from the ropes, he comes over to your side and fucks with you before the match even begins. He has loaded fucking horseshoes in his gloves, Jesus. The fight itself is also pretty interesting as you're forced to counter the attacks instead of dodging, because dodging and attacking back doesn't really do much of anything. Overall, this is a great fight. Put this man in smash. Up next is Soda Popinski, or as he's known in the original arcade version, Vodka Drunkenski. Obviously they had to change him, but whatever it is he's drinking, there's clearly something in it. It's here where you learn what the World Circuit's gonna be like, i.e., hell. His attacks are faster than a bullet train, and they hit harder than that. Also, whenever he gets up, he hits you with a billion uppercuts in a row that you have to deal with. He also does it when you stop him from drinking his bottle to recover HP, which is also a thing he can do. Eventually, he starts throwing curvy hooks, and they're just as fast as his normal hooks, except they hit you if you dodge to the right. Also, good luck trying to counter any of that for stars. Not even the easy instant knockdown trick will save you. Yeah, it's easy, but you need another star every time you want to use it. Overall, this fight drives me to drink. But, much like every other fight in this game, it's not impossible. Wait, who's next? Oh, fuck me. Just when we were done with Soda Pop, the game decides to throw another bald pinhead at us, except this time he can run really fast. And, much like Soda Pop before him, Bald Bull makes me upset. How would you like more lightning quick impossible to counterattack? How about a side of delayed attacks and even more delayed attacks? This boss fight isn't even hard for any gimmicky reasons, save for his bull charge. If you counter it, it's an instant knockdown, and it's pretty damn easy to time. Other than that, this boss fight's a damn tricky one. Not that much more to say.
Alright, Pinhead, your time.
Christ, we're nearly there. On to Super Macho Man. He was actually ranked above Mr. Sandman in the previous game. While his title may not be as high as it was previously, his tan is certainly better. It's a bit weird that he was ranked so high considering he's way easier than Bald Bull. He's still got some tricks up his sleeves, like his fast uppercut and delayed uppercut, and his special attack, the Super Macho Clothesline. You have to duck under it, and if you don't, deal with half your fucking health bar. What? Also, you literally cannot counter any of his moves. Other than that, though, you can still get stars pretty easily thanks to this combo lock. And he really doesn't have much else going for him, sadly. But that doesn't mean he's boring. No way.
Super Man!
There's nothing much more cathartic than taking the smug Valley Boy down a peg, and they nailed that persona perfectly, what with his voice lines and the fact that he flexes after every uppercut. And I mean, come on, Bald Bull don't got pecs like that. At long last, we've reached the final challenge. The World Champion, Mr. Sandman. The intro shows him beating the fuck out of everyone else, and that tells you he's no joke. He's got no special tricks, no flashy moves, no gimmicks. His gimmick is that he's Mr. Sandman, damn it. And yeah, he has just about every damn right to have that title. He's got a super fast overhead that he throws out all the time with practically no tell for it, as well as a delayed version that he throws just as often in a weird pattern. Even if you do manage to avoid it, he takes practically no damage from a stun. There's almost no chances for stars, and even when you do get one, he'll often sucker punch it right out of you. And to top it all off, a triple-decker uppercut combo called the Dreamland Express. But that's the least of your concerns compared to the fucking fundamentals this guy's got nailed down. I cannot overstate just how hard and effective Mr. Sandman is as the final boss. And, just like any other boss in this game, with enough blood, sweat, and tears, it's entirely possible to take him down. And boy does that TKO animation hit hard. But we're not done yet! Sure, we may have kicked everyone's ass, but whoopsies, now all of them are back and ready to return the favor. Say hello to title defense. That's right, after beating the game, you get to go through the entire ringer again. Only this time they've got brand spanking new moves to make them even more of a threat. Just about every single one of them are faster, stronger, and even have delayed attacks to throw you off. You even get brand new slideshows and animations, and more often than not, they're even locked and loaded with brand new moves. And they are way harder than their contender counterparts. I cannot stress enough how much of a genuine game changer this mode is. Despite them being rematches, they don't feel like old bosses. It's great. Even fucking Glass Joe is an actual threat now. After his 100th loss, his doctor is forcing him to wear headgear. So now you can't hit him in the face until you star punch him first. His intercept timings are a lot more strict too, and he has a delayed hook that fooled me way more often than it should have.
He's just standing there.
Also, he does whatever this is. Kaiser decided to get his shit together, mostly. And he's an actual bona fide boxer this time, with delayed uppercuts, fake out uppercuts just to fuck with you, and even a super fast jab that you can barely react to. Oh, and he can do this. Disco Kid decided to take up boxercising, you can tell from his round intermission. Obviously. And he's way faster and has a new disco flurry attack. King Hippo has body armor that you need to figure out how to tear off. Also, he knows how to keep his mouth shut. Piston Hondo is pretty much the same, but harder. Aside from the fact that he reads Sailor Moon upside down. Bear Hugger brings a fucking squirrel with him to fight. And also, you can only stun him with a star punch. You also piss off Peter whenever you win. Great Tiger is pretty much the same nonsense as before, but now with even more nonsense that I'm not even gonna bother to try and figure out. Don Flamenco's fucking pissed! After his humiliating defeat last time, he's back and he's stronger than ever. Sure, he may still have an infinite, but that doesn't mean much compared to his speed, power, and speed. Aaron Ryan. Oh boy, Aaron Ryan. Alright, at first glance, it's pretty similar to the original, except this time, if you counter him, he's gonna counter you right back. Even after you stun him, he'll take a stab at you. You're not even safe in between rounds. And neither is the ref! Another important thing to note is that he also steals your gloves from the minor circuit when his old ones broke. Why is that important? Well, what did he do with his old gloves?
Here's one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, that's right, he fashions his old gloves into a makeshift flail. He'll even swing at you with it while he's going down, for fuck's sake. Also, whenever you dodge it, he screams and then immediately gets cut off. Soda Pop gets faster and stronger the more he drinks. Bald Bull can only be knocked down by a star punch, and again, fuck me if I'm dealing with that. Super Macho Man can
Release the bogus!
And oh my god, title defense Sandman. Alright, so obviously it's still the same Sandman as before. So, you know, you still have your crazy overheads and delayed overheads, but now they're in an even weirder pattern. But now, with the side of Dreamland Express every other microsecond. I swear, eventually the word Dreamland starts to lose all its meaning. And if that's not your cup of tea, how would you also like uppercuts at the goddamn speed of light that deal a third of your health bar? It's so demanding. He winks at you, but you practically have to predict which side to dodge before he does. Also, he does it every single time you get up, so if you do, there's a good chance you'll go straight back down to the floor. And to top it all off, if you somehow manage to survive all that and knock him down twice in one round, he'll unleash the Berserker Rush, where he uppercuts you until he can't no more. Like, my lord, they just don't stop coming. The chances of survival are so slim. But, despite all that, I managed to survive it, and I managed to beat him.
TKO!
Twice, because I wasn't recording the first time. And that was Punch Out Wii. Overall, I have no doubt calling it one of my favorite Wii games of all time. The gameplay is as satisfying as can be, whether you're fighting the easiest Glass Joe or the toughest Mr. Sandman. Every single boxer is packed to the brim with personality. It might as well be Nintendo TF2, it's so good. And they were able to perfectly evolve the gameplay of the cult classic, making it even easier to pick up and play. while also keeping it hard as balls. And that's just about all I have left to say. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and I'll see y'all next time.